When I saw the list, my heart dropped. What frightened me even more, my own name was on it. This story began with a boy who came to see me for counseling. 3 months earlier, he had jumped from a building but survived. I assumed the fall wasn't too high and that he had mostly recovered. But the next day, when I opened the door, I froze. A middle-aged woman stood there with crutches, and two men pushed a wheelchair out of the elevator. In the chair sat a 16-year-old boy, his arm in a cast, a metal frame on his leg, head lowered, curled into himself. Suddenly he looked up and said, "Give me the crutches." His mother told him to stay seated, but he shouted, "I said give them to me." He struggled to stand. His injured leg wouldn't support him, yet he kept trying. Finally, he forced himself forward on the crutches, dragged himself into my office, and collapsed onto the sofa. He looked at me and asked, "Teacher Yi, can someone like me still be saved?" 3 months earlier, he had jumped from the third floor at school. He survived but suffered multiple fractures. Doctors said standing again would already be a miracle, and walking normally was uncertain. A steel frame was bolted into his leg with thick metal pins. Even after removal, deep scars would remain. He came to me because I once gave a psychology lecture at his school, and he remembered me. Each time he came, he insisted on walking in with crutches himself. He said he wanted to look a little more dignified in front of me. As we built trust, he told me something shocking. Other students at their school had jumped before. Whenever someone jumped, the school gave 3 days off, cleaned the scene, and blocked the news. Gradually, the students formed a terrible idea. If you couldn't take the pressure, someone jumps and everyone rests. He handed me a wrinkled piece of paper. It was a crude schedule with several names. His name was checked off, dated the day he jumped. "This," he said calmly, "is our death list." When someone can't stand it anymore, they jump. Everyone gets 3 days off. Whoever dies becomes our hero. I felt a chill. This wasn't fantasy. It was real. I asked, "When is the next one?" He said, "Before midterms, so the exams will be cancelled." I realized how serious this was. Someone else could die very soon. I secretly photographed the list and contacted the school immediately after the session. At first, they denied everything until I described the next student's warning signs. Then we began an urgent and confidential crisis intervention. Together with the school counselor, we quietly met each child on the list one by one, without causing panic. Behind every calm face was hidden pain. Some were crushed by family pressure, some by grades, others by isolation and bullying. They felt hopeless and unseen. One girl said softly, "Teacher Yi, we even wrote your name on the list. If you can't save us, maybe no one can." My heart broke hearing that. No training had prepared me for this weight. It wasn't just asking for help. They were handing me their lives. I hugged the child, and she cried on my shoulder. During that time, Xiaojia became a symbol to the others. They watched his progress closely. At first he was carried in, then came in a wheelchair. Later he used 2 crutches, then one. Each week he walked a little steadier than before. For months later, he tried something different. He refused the crutches and walked toward me on his own. Slow, painful, but steady. After the session he said, "Teacher Yi, maybe I don't have to jump. I can just walk here." My eyes filled with tears. At that moment, all my worries and efforts felt worthwhile. This, perhaps, is the deepest meaning of my work. That death list remains the heaviest memory of my career. When pressure makes living feel worse than dying, children may even rationalize suicide. Simple institutional responses can cause serious harm. So please pay attention to what children say. If they talk about sleeping forever or never going back to school, don't dismiss it as complaining. It may be a cry for help. Notice invisible pressure too: neglect, unrealistic expectations, loneliness. Watch for emotional or behavioral changes. These are warning signs we must not ignore. When a child says they're tired or don't want to live, don't criticize them. Instead say, "I know this is hard. I'm here. Tell me what's going on." Help them build a sense of value beyond grades. Their worth isn't defined by scores. Help them find belonging, confidence, and purpose in life. Later, everyone on that list received help in time. Xiaojie got into his dream university. He told me, "I still can't run, but I can walk anywhere I want." I felt relieved, but also afraid. If he hadn't come to me, if the list had stayed hidden, how many more children might we have lost? Our job isn't to recover after tragedy, but to prevent it before it happens. If we listen and stay beside them, even the darkest night will pass. We must be th.